All the last-minute gifts are on sale at Gap Factory and GapFactory.com. Get 60% off almost everything. Shop new doorbusters, including gifts from $7, socks from $2, tees from $8, and more. Find it all at Gap Factory or GapFactory.com through December 24th. Cozy up for the holidays with 60% off everything at Banana Republic Factory, including soft sweaters, comfy pajamas, must-have gifts, and more from $9.99. Find your nearest store now, only at Banana Republic Factory.
Save your most important documents and photos in the cloud. A Microsoft 365 subscription gives you a full terabyte of secure OneDrive storage, plus an added layer of protection with OneDrive Personal Vault. Buy now at Microsoft365.com/photos.
What's going on? What's going on? You are tuned into the Cigars with Mac podcast. I am your humble host, Cigars with Mac. Today's podcast, we're going to talk about why are people leaving California. That's right. Why are people leaving California? Why is everyone leaving California? Why? Why are folks leaving California, man? That's a good question. Because last time I checked, California was Sunnyside, California. Beautiful women, beautiful beaches, great food. We love food, man. Why are people leaving California? That's the question. I gotta know, man. I've got to know. Because they're not just leaving California and going to Nevada. No. They're going to Washington, D.C., New York, which is crazy to move to New York, Florida, Texas, Washington State. Why? So anyway, we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about it. So here's one article from calmatters.org. Title of the article is Not the Golden State Anymore. Middle and low income people leaving California. It says in 2017, Susana Cardeña Lopez left her home in Salinas to visit her brother in Idaho. That's another popular state where people from California moving to Idaho. 3 days into her trip, she called her husband and told him they needed to move there. Back in Salinas, Cardeña Lopez and her husband were left out in the cold after their landlord decided to stop renting the home they lived in. They could not afford anything else, so they had to move in with a family member, which was very stressful. Now in Idaho, she and her husband have free time and money left over at the end of the month. So let's talk about that. It's apparent that the Lopez's left California. 1, they were homeless. 2, their money was not stretching as far as it would as far as it could be. So here we have people who are hardworking middle class people and living in California, and their freaking landlord decided to, stop renting a home. He or she probably was getting ready to sell their home and kick rocks. A lot of people go to California because there are jobs there. A lot of people go to California because of legalized marijuana. I mean, I've literally seen videos of people living in California struggling their asses off. Like, why are you living there if you're struggling? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you living in a place that you're struggling in? Why? I posted this on my Facebook. And a Facebook friend of mine, he was in California. And here's a couple of reasons why. He's actually back here in Texas right now. He said taxes. Gas taxes, for example, you get hit all the way down to the county tax, maybe even city, but I really can't remember. He said the middle class is almost gone, and the Bay Area is one of, if not the most expensive cost of living, and has some of the highest property cost. And he said also the county tax is tearing people's asses up. So you getting county tax, state tax, federal tax, sales tax. Forgot about that. So that's why people are leaving. That's one of the reasons why people are leaving. That's crazy. See, I live in Dallas, Fort Worth area, in Fort Worth to be exact. Hell, I think Fort Worth is cheaper to live than Dallas. People are a lot friendlier also. But anyway, as we were just reading an article, and I'm still reading it, about the Lopez's. Man, they were homeless, man. Their freaking landlord screwed them. That's not cool, man. That's not cool at all. Real estate. Real estate is a big deal out there. I'm noticing that. I mean, it's a big deal out here. But man, it's a big deal out there. And I'm quite sure in this article they're going to talk about that. I'm quite sure in the article they're going to talk about that, but I want to just kind of, spit for a little bit. So you have people where their money is good money in other states. Their money goes very far in other states. But in California, their money doesn't go very far. That's the problem. There lies the problem. There lies the problem. Their money does not go very far. Their money is not spreading the way they want to, because you have people living in freaking I don't want to say shacks, but they're living in areas whereas, for instance, a place like out here in DFW, that house may be 150 grand. You're paying 3 to 4 times the amount of that in California. There lies the problem. There lies the problem. People's money cannot spread the way they want it to, because the cost of living is so goddamn high in California. And a lot of people out here in Texas especially, they're not very welcoming of Californians, because California is a very liberal state. Very liberal state. Very liberal policies. Very liberal state, very liberal policies, and people are tired of that. So let me read some more of this article on the Lopez's. I accidentally closed out the browser on my phone. Now in Idaho, she and her husband have free time and money left over at the end of the month. Each month, there's a bonus. The area is significantly safer, she said. I feel like it's a dream with the quality of life we now have. Yes, the pay is less, but that just doesn't even seem to matter to me. At least we have enough to pay our rent and bills. Many of her family members face the same situation. 5 months ago, a 35-year-old daughter and son-in-law and grandchildren left Salinas after their rent increased from $1,300 to $2,000 in just 3 years, she said. Wow. So you got to imagine if your rent that you're able to pay was $1,300, and now you got to pay $2,000, and your money is not adding up. Because everybody in California is not millionaires. Let me go ahead and dispel that myth. So she says, I love California, but it's just not the golden state in my eyes anymore, she said. It says Cardenas Lopez isn't alone. The U.S. Census Bureau numbers show that the middle and lower classes are leaving California at a higher rate than the wealthy. I don't really believe that, but okay. Many who have left in recent years say they simply couldn't afford to stay there. There you go. From what I'm seeing, they're not really saying the jobs is the issue. They're saying that the cost of living is killing them, man. Killing them financially. The cost of living is kicking their asses. It says in the second quarter of 2019, the San Francisco Bay Area topped Los Angeles, Washington, and Chicago when it came to people leaving major U.S. cities. It was second only to New York City. More than 28,190 people departed the Bay Area during those 3 months, close to double 2017's rate, according to a regular migration report. In 2018, according to the U.S. Census, about 190,000 more people left the Golden State than moved there. It was the second year in a row of the negative trend. However, the population is still rising due to the birth rate. It says California added 141,300 residents between July 2018 and July 2019, bringing its population to an estimated 39.96 million people, according to the California Department of Finance. So that means there are almost 40 million people in California right now as we speak. It says the majority of people leaving reported an annual income of less than $100,000. It says while the state has seen an influx of those making $100,000 and more, according to a 2018 United Way cost of living report, Latino and African American households struggle at the highest rates in California. The cost of housing is their largest burden. Still, state demographers said a mix of factors likely are playing into the flight of the impoverished elderly and those on fixed incomes. So, according to this article, a lot of middle class and lower class are leaving. Now, I don't really like using that word middle class. I believe you're either poor or you're rich, or you can say you're working class. We could say that because poor. I mean, that's a pretty harsh word. I look at poor as you can't get shit, you can't do shit, you can't move. That's what I consider poor. I don't really call middle class people middle class. I call them working class. Sad, man. Let me read some more of this article. It says moves relate to relative employment situation, and they do relate to cost and amenities, said Eddie Hunsinger, a demographer with the State Department of Finance. They also too move at different stages of life. It's generally a mix of factors going into migration. Hunsinger added that even when people are leaving the state in droves, there is still a steady flow of people moving into California. I can attest to that. There are people I know who are actually moving to California. I don't know if they're moving to LA. I don't know the cities in LA County, but there are people still moving to California. There must be still opportunities there. It's just for working people. Poor people, is no opportunities there as far as making money and living comfortably. That plays a big deal. It says here, Randall Moore, who used to live in Santa Rosa in Sonoma County, said the number one reason she left for Florida was the cost of living. She said, we were working 10 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, every holiday, and we were still struggling to buy groceries, she said. Now Moore rents a 3-bedroom home with a pool for $1,400 a month and has money to spare. See, that's the thing. When you're working, a lot of people just work to pay bills and they really have no extra money. I watch these financial experts say, save this amount of money, set this amount of money aside. But if your if your income only equates to the money you have to pay bills, you really don't have money to save like that. Even if you could save $25 and it'll add up. That sounds good, but in theory, that's not practical. Sounds very good theoretically, but practically that's not how things work, because I've been there. And these people are saying that they're leaving California. Their rent is half of what they were paying in California. If not, it's split 50. Do you know how much 50%? If you're paying $3,000 a month in rent and your rent gets cut in half to $1,400, $1,500, You don't understand. That is a big financial win for anyone who's coming out of California, moving to the South. That is a big win for somebody. Because people don't want to spend their whole check paying bills. People want to win. I understand that. So I don't knock anyone that says I don't have money to save. This person said they were working 10 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and still didn't have money to put it back for anything. She says now that she's left California for Florida, which has beaches, beautiful women. I don't know about the marijuana thing. And she has money to spare. That says a lot. It says the difference is in the thousands of dollars and hours working, she said. We don't make California money anymore, but we actually have more money at the end of the month. That's why the old folks used to say it ain't what you make, it's how you spend it. I remember I used to tell people back in the day, because I worked a job that paid pretty good money, but I was always getting laid off all the time. And I gave someone an analogy. I said, I may make $30 an hour here, but if I'm getting laid off every year, I'm not really making progress. But if I'm at a job for 10 years making $20 an hour consistently, I know what I'm going to get. I know what I'm going to make. And it's steady income. You know, it has to balance out. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people that make a certain amount of money, they're like, hey, I need more money. And that is true. You do need more money. You do. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that by a long shot. But what I'm saying is $25 an hour in Florida will take you farther than $25 an hour in California. This individual in the article just confirmed that. She just confirmed that. I don't even want to go to California to visit it so high. I'm good on that. I went to California for training exercise back in my military days. All my vets know about Fort Irwin, California. And in 2007, guys, the gas was like $3 a gallon back then. Let's continue reading the article. The difference is in the thousands of dollars and hours working, she said. We don't make California money anymore, but we actually have more money at the end of the month. Do I miss it? She asked. I miss what it used to be before the industries were destroyed, as well as the middle class. So this isn't the first person I've heard say that. Certain industries cannot make money in California because of the laws. Like out here in Texas, oil and gas is a big thing. Well, in California, you know, they're not big on oil and gas. And in fact, I want to say you can't even drill out there. And some scientists may equate, you know, that to the earthquakes. That's probably why they're not allowed to drill out there. And I could be wrong. This is just my speculation. Let's continue. It seems it's become a two-class system. The haves and the have-nots. The poor have no chance to survive. That's what I mean, I feel like that's the way it's always been. See, because I feel like a lot of people in certain areas are delusional. The haves and the have-nots. the rich or the poor, the working, I call it working class. I've heard ladies call it working poor. I don't know how you working poor, but if that's what you want to call it, that's fine. But as she stated earlier in the article, they have money left over every month. And financially, that's how I knew I was doing good. When I was able to have money left over after paying bills and was able to keep a running balance in my checking account to pay things, to go out to eat, to save money. That's how I knew I was doing pretty good financially. But yet financially, I still have work to do.
Save your most important documents, videos, and photos in the cloud. With a Microsoft 365 subscription, you get a full terabyte of secure OneDrive storage that you can access across all your devices. As part of your subscription, you get the added benefit of additional OneDrive Personal Vault storage. Using a second set of identity verification, this gives you an extra layer of protection for your most important and private files. Buy now at Microsoft365.com/memories.
Article says California is attempting to address the housing issue. Governor Gavin Newsom has committed $1.75 billion to fund new building projects to tackle California's housing crisis. In October, Newsom signed various housing bills, including one that capped rent increases and stifled evictions. Now, see, I don't think that's going to do anything, because what's going to happen is those landlords are going to pretty much sell their rental income. If you're telling me as a landlord, a real estate investor, business owner, that I'm not allowed to charge, I'm only allowed to charge this amount of money. Well, now you're telling me how to run my business. I'm paying you taxes. Stay out of my business. But you got to look at, as I said earlier, you got state tax, federal tax, property tax, county tax. That's the problem. It's not me charging an exuberant amount of money for rent, because I have to make a profit. It's just business 101. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. But what I'm saying is, as a landlord, I don't want to call him a slumlord, as a landlord, it's my job to take care of me and my family. Article says we're living in the wealthiest as well as the poorest state in America. Newsom said when he signed the bills. Cost of living. It is the issue that defines more issues than any other issue in this state, California. Between 2010 and 2017, negative domestic migration to the state increased annually, according to the California Association of Realtors. In the same period, the median cost of a home in California doubled. In the Bay Area, it tripled. About 32% of households in California can afford to buy a medium-priced home, which is around $600,000, said Oscar Y., the Realtor Association's senior economist and director of research. Compared to 2012, we are at 52% across the state. In San Francisco and San Mateo, only 12 or 13% of residents can afford to buy a medium-priced home there. So that means the average price home in Cali is $600,000. That's $400,000 shy of $1 million. Do you know what kind of house you could buy in DFW for $600,000? You could damn near buy a mansion for that amount. I'm like Bernie Mac, that's good living. It says in San Francisco, A medium priced home costs around $1.5 million. We said that states with a low cost of living or no income tax can tempt people by offering wages that aren't quite middle class in California, but will put them above average elsewhere. In California, to buy a medium priced home, it requires an income of $100,000, he said. In Arizona, you can buy a medium priced home with an income of $50,000 to $60,000. While we does not expect housing prices to drop the way they did at the end of the last decade, when the housing bubble burst, he does anticipate price drops in the next 5 to 10 years if the housing crisis is not addressed. Reading this article is very depressing, people. Very depressing. And the thing about it, they know that people have to live somewhere. People have to live. Real estate is not going anywhere. There's no shortage of real estate, people. Believe it or not, it's really not. People have to live somewhere. And it says, we have been seeing companies leave SoCal. In the Bay Area, said we. Toyota and Nissan left Southern California, and home prices might have slowed down, but they haven't significantly dropped. So you got major companies like Toyota and Nissan. I know for a fact, I remember when the Toyota corporate office came out here to, I think it's Frisco, I believe. I don't think they build Toyotas out here. I haven't heard of a Toyota plant. But as far as the salary jobs, customer service jobs, they can get a better bang for their buck out here in Dallas, Fort Worth. And Nissan has a corporate office here, and they have a, I want to say a plant or a warehouse. I know they got a warehouse out here. Says that the housing affordability, tongue-tied. Let me drink something right quick. One thing about when you podcast, you got to keep your mouth, you got to keep your mouth salivated. Anyway, if the housing affordability issue isn't addressed in the next 5 to 10 years, we will see companies starting to move out, he said. However, he didn't think enough companies would move out over a short enough period to truly tumble housing prices. After all, he said, California is a good place to live. It's the cost that's an issue. That's crazy, people. This economist guy, this financial guy, this guy probably studies trends and financial moves. He knows what's about to happen. He knows exactly what's about to happen. He knows that companies are going to be leaving California because there's no incentive for them to stay. He knows that, but the thing is, you don't need a college degree to figure that out. It's common sense. As a business, as a corporation, you are providing jobs for a state. You're providing jobs for a city. They need to be treating you good because you are the reason why people are spending money because they have jobs. And when you don't take care of those corporations, they'll find a state who will take care of them. And maybe that's why I've been seeing a lot of companies move out here to Texas, because I guess Texas has a lot of incentives. Texas must have a lot of incentives for big companies, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 200 companies. There must be a lot of incentive because they're moving out here. And I don't blame them. That's crazy, man. Let me finish reading some more of this article. Let me see how much we got left. All right. Says Pat Tollefson, who said her great-great-grandfather, Joseph Frederick Snyder, was an early settler of Salinas in the 1860s. Moved to Washington State with her husband 3 years ago after spending her first 60 years in California. We love California, she said, but the state pushed us out. She wrote to the Salinas Californian on Facebook. The first year we were in Washington, our Prius California registration was due at a cost of $209, but we transferred the registration to Washington State at a cost of $63, she said. That was just one surprise benefit. Tollefson said they found the cost of purchasing a home as well as utilities were lower than they had paid in California. The lower cost of living combined with their access to nature has helped lower their stress. Salinas' realtor, Chris Barrera, has worked for Windermere Valley Properties for 5 years. In the last few years, he has seen more and more clients cite cost of living as a main reason they're leaving California. I could really end this podcast on that alone because cost of living is a big factor. He estimated about a quarter of the 20 clients he works with a month felt they can no longer afford California. Most are in the service industry or live on a fixed income, and many are leaving for Texas and Idaho, states with a low or no income tax and a low cost of living. So according to this article, the majority of Californians are either going to Idaho or the great state of Texas. The great state. People are being priced out, Barretta said. I have a lot of clients who are selling and they're just tired of California politics. Monterey County is one of the most expensive places to live in the U.S. And the only other option is to have numerous families living at one property, he said. So as I speculated and as I've heard from real people, there's a lot of cohabitating in California. You have a lot of families living together out there. That alone is troublesome itself. That makes no sense. But anyway, that creates its own problems and can push people out. When does this stop? Barretta asked. When does this start evening out? All of us are going to be in a situation one day when we retire, to have to leave where our family is and where we were brought up just because we can't afford. It is pretty sad. So cohabitating is something big in California. That's a big deal in California, cohabitating. I've heard of people even being 2 and 3, 4 people on a mortgage. Yes, because it's so expensive. That's insane to me, man. But people are moving to Idaho and people are moving to Texas. That says a lot, man, when you move into Texas. But it is the great state. That's a fact, Jack. It is the great state for a reason. Many people call Texas its own country because we have our own set of rules out here. But Texas is a very conservative state. I'll admit that too. So I met a brother from California one day. He couldn't get with Texas. He couldn't get with it. He said, man, the shit y'all do out here will get your ass killed in California. I said, I can believe that, my man. I believe that. I understand where you're coming from. I told him I definitely understand where you're coming from. But brother, you in the great state of Texas now, dog. You got to conform to the Texas way. Yes, sir. Oh, and my thing was, Texas couldn't have been that bad for him. His ass still here. I bet he's still here. Texas couldn't have been that bad because he's still here, bitching and moaning. So, and this was about 6 years ago. I met this gentleman. He was just in awe the way we did things in Texas. He was in awe. I have another friend. He came on here. He always talks shit about Texas, but one thing about it, he made some good money out here. So that could not be denied. Says those who leave California don't always leave it behind, though. Communities that sometimes double as support groups have sprung up online for former Californians. Here they can complain about their former state or even their new one while still maintaining that they're glad they left. Some also say politics, not just taxes, play a role in their decision to leave. In the California Exodus and Ex-Calers, a Facebook group for ex-Californians and those planning to leave, the banner photo is an altered, now leaving California signs. It reads, "Was it something we taxed?" Here, a couple hundred members share California laws and regulations that they find ridiculous or costly, affirming their and other members' decision to leave. Though they share stories of their Californians leaving California. The person in this article said, I joined this group so I would at least have others to commiserate with, said group member Melinda Timblader, who said she left California because of the high cost of everything, extreme moral decay, and being pretty sick of bearing the cost of freeloaders for their medical stuff. Free college, free stuff, while I slave away, staying awake at night wondering how I'm going to pay for my daughter's college. But the illegal next door gets it for free. If you sense a lot of anger on my part, she wrote, you would be correct. We absolutely made the best decision to flee. Have no regrets and are actively helping several family members to leave ASAP as well. Just don't come to Texas with that bullshit. Other group members echoed Timblader's sentiments, adding that the state's liberal bent left them feeling frustrated and isolated. I guess maybe it helps to solidify the fact We are not alone, said Jonathan English Olmsted, who plans to leave California. In this state, being a devoted Christian and Republican, you feel as though you are the only one with these views. Not everyone is taken off for cheaper or greener pastures. Some have instead resorted to subletting or moving in with family to meet increased rental prices. Marina native Rachel Jarvis said she and her family, including 4 children, are living with her in-laws. See what I'm saying? All this cohabitating, man. That's crazy. I've noticed a lot of young people in California still live at home. A lot of them still living with their parents because they just cannot afford, man. Jarvis wanted to stay in Marina where neighbors still look out for one another, but she said commuters to San Jose are snatching up properties at sky-high prices. Jarvis is looking at other options, but so far it seems the only place she and her family can afford housing is outside the area. We don't make enough to afford a home big enough to raise our family, she said. That's the end of the article. Again, you can find this article at calmatters.org. The title of the article is Not the Golden State Anymore. Middle and low income people leaving California by Kate Cimini. That's Kate Cimini. Article published January 8th, 2020, and it has since been updated May 19th, 2020. So folks, there you have it. Those are just a few reasons as to why people are leaving California. I mean, you heard her say, taking care of freeloaders on the system. That's crazy to me. That is crazy as fuck to me. That's crazy, people. I don't. That's crazy. But you still got people living there. I mean, it is. I'm not saying it's that bad. I heard there is a lot of crime out there. But people still living there because they love that California life. And I understand that. I get it. I do. All I can hope for is that the Californians moving out here to Texas don't corrupt our shit. But I don't think they will. Texas ain't gonna allow that. Ain't happening. It's not happening. And it is what it is, folks. But there you have it. This is my take on why people are leaving California. On some subjects, I like to get articles so I can, let you hear other people's opinions. So I can make sure I'm not crazy. So anyway, I want to ask everyone again to download, follow, like, and share on your favorite podcasting platform. And we out.
You're making grilled cheese tonight. The store with the really good cheese closes at 7. If it's 12.1 miles away and work ends at 5:45 but rush hour picks up around 6:15, when's the latest you can leave for cheese? Don't know? Not to worry. Waze knows. Take a look at the traffic forecast and plan your drive ahead of time. Waze. Download and drive today. You're making grilled cheese tonight. The store with the really good cheese closes at 7. If it's 12.1 miles away and work ends at 5:45 but rush hour picks up around 6:15, when's the latest you can leave for cheese? Don't know? Not to worry. Waze knows. Take a look at the traffic forecast and plan your drive ahead of time. Waze. Download and drive today.